Hi, my name is Natalie Dubovitskaya, and this is my final project for the Introduction to Programming with Python class. For my project, I wanted to write a program that conjugates Spanish verbs. Spanish language has 10 verb tenses and 6 subjects in which verbs conjugate, and verbs can be regular and irregular. Regular verbs conjugate following a very predictable pattern. Irregular verbs don't. With regular verbs, only the endings change with conjugation, and with irregular verbs, stem of the verb can change as well, which presents an interesting challenge programmatically. For my program, I will only conjugate verbs in the present tense and indicative subject. For simplicity, and also I don't know much Spanish, and that's sort of almost everything I know how to do. My code uses many functions to determine if a verb falls under any irregular verbs. If it finds that a verb is irregular, it will conjugate it accordingly. If it doesn't find it in any irregular verb lists, it will conjugate it as a regular verb. I used functions, lists. My code takes user input, and also used regular expressions for my code. Something interesting I learned is that I wasn't the first one to try to solve this problem. Someone else already did it and wrote a code that's available publicly, and that code conjugates all verbs in all tenses, all subjects. The code is very complex. You will see if you look at it that I did not copy anything from it because it's too complex. The code I wrote is entirely my own, so it's original work. But this is a good code to look at if you're interested in Spanish. Limitations of my program. It does not accept special characters, and in Spanish it's very important. So if I were to address that in the future, I would probably figure out some ASCII encoding to make sure special characters are properly represented. Also, because of my limited knowledge of Spanish, some rare irregular verbs or verbs that are irregular and unknown to me, they could be conjugated by the code as regular verbs. But in the future, if I were to address that, I would just keep adding irregular verbs to the list as I learn them. Now let's take a look at how my program works. Okay, here we have the code, and let's run it, and it's going to ask for user input. So let's give it a Spanish infinitive, verb hablar, to speak, regular verb. It conjugates it as a regular verb, so it knows how to do that. If we give it an irregular verb, such as ir, to go, it will correctly conjugate it as well. Now, my program also deals with garbage input, like if you type something that's not a Spanish infinitive, like something like this, I will tell you, sorry, this is not an infinitive, so this is correct. Some of the irregular verbs, such as conocer, to know, actually follow an irregular conjugation pattern, so to speak, so it recognizes that as well. So this is addressed in my code as a function. It's only irregular in first person singular. So, and it's, again, it conjugated this correctly. Let's try another verb, last one, correr, to run, regular verb as well. There we go, program conjugated it. So this is how my code works. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.